Hello, doctor and fellow honor students. This will be the first video that I've made for college with me actually speaking, so excuse me if there's a lot of errors. I'm gonna try the best I can. But anyways, my topic is on overpopulation, and the reason why I feel like it is so important to discuss it's a significant environmental issue that impacts us all in various amounts of different ways, such as, you know, the more people on the planet, the more pollution, plastics in the oceans, food scarcity, water scarcity. I mean, resources are becoming an unsustainable source. And what I mean when I'm referring to, you know, not enough adequate resources is too many humans on our planet is really taxing on resources that we need to tap into constantly in order for us to thrive and survive. Some of the impacts of human overpopulation result in deforestation, over farming, more industrialization as, you know, our needs and growing demands, areas to store our waste such as plastics and other containers that we no longer deem necessary. It wouldn't be a bad problem, you know, if people could be more responsible with their trash. That's the problem, is most people are not. They like to litter, unfortunately. Our planet's human overpopulation is growing at an exceedingly high rate that Earth cannot meet the demands of. So when that happens, it creates unsustainability for humans. I mean, we don't necessarily feel it in America, but there's a lot of third world countries that have a really hard time getting clean water, having access to food. Actually, human overpopulation is a really serious environmental concern, because the more we need as humans, the more we tap into precious resources that sometimes aren't replenishable. That leaves us in dire situations of loss in resources, thus going back to the unsustainability of Earth. Earth can't sustain us all, so we need to do our part and try to decrease the population as much as possible. And that goes into family planning and goes into proposed solution. And some of the things that I propose is raising educational awareness. Some of the platforms that you can do that on is YouTube. Their videos expand globally. Some people might not be aware of the seriousness of overpopulation and how taxing it is on our Earth and how it affects us all globally. The planet continues to suffer deforestation problems, and trees are what supplies our ecosystems and help us clean and filter the air and take our carbon monoxide and turn it into air for us to breathe. So it affects everybody globally. So using the platform of YouTube to raise education, one of the topics that I could advise on is family planning, and maybe being an advocate for free, more accessible forms of birth control for not only women, but for men too. They have responsibilities in matters of family planning just as much as women do, so they should always be included in the topic of family planning. And, you know, especially addressing our youth, because teenagers like to be sexually promiscuous and sometimes aren't well informed of the significance of becoming pregnant. Along with the importance of raising awareness and being an advocate is possibly even seeking like donations in certain areas that are poor communities that might not have access to proper sexual education, family planning, and birth contraceptives. So, and it all goes back to the root of raising proper education for people that might not understand the probability of the dynamic issue of human overpopulation and how it significantly impacts the global environment. I say global because even though sometimes we don't feel the immediate effects of global, is because even though we may necessarily always feel the immediate impacts of environmental issues where we live. That doesn't mean, you know, in the future we won't. That's why it's so important to raise education and awareness, not just about human overpopulation, but about many environmental factors that I'm really in support of. I've learned a lot in this class, and not just this class, Science 207. Learned a lot and am really grateful for my learning experiences, as many don't have the opportunity. Before I had so much education under my belt, I still was really big on the environment and concerned and aware of my impacts alone and what I could do to be a part in helping any way that I could. And the way that I help out is I go pick up trash in my local community and areas, and I'm a big recycler. I really learned how to manage and lower my eco footprint, you know, like I no longer buy loofahs in the store because that contributes to landfill waste. I don't leave the water running when I brush my teeth. I take short showers. Maybe that sounds gross, but I try to minimize my shower time, and I shower every other day. I try to wear the same clothes as much as possible because then it eliminates laundry. That probably sounds gross, but if you don't stink and your clothes don't stink, then it's really not necessary. Everything that we do here on Earth is temporary anyways, and how we decide to leave it for future generations, really, I was taught and teach my children, always leave everything better than how you found it, and I'm a firm believer in that, so that's what I do. I do a lot of other things. Big on turning all my electric devices off. I don't keep the lights running. I also don't buy plastic water bottles. I have a water bottle that I take with me everywhere and use it multiple times, and I'm just very conscious of how I choose to interact and how my impact affects the environment. So I like to as little impact on Earth as I possibly can. It, you know, and it even trickled down to my children. My son, he goes and he cleans up the park. I think it's cute. I get compliments all the time from other parents that they think that's really neat that he cleans up and puts trash where it belongs in the proper receptacles and whatnot. And oh yeah. There are several opposing arguments that counter-argue my main claim. They would say that human growth population is a good thing for the economy. It's a really tough topic to try to rebuttal, because an opposing argument that one could refute is simply that one doesn't really have the right to tell another person how many children they can and can't have, because that's their freedom of individual choice. I can raise as much awareness and talk about how it's bad for Earth's sustainability till I'm blue in the face, but at the end of the day, you know, it's up to every individual on the face of the planet to want to contribute to Earth's welfare just as much as I do. There's also an opposing argument that claims it's really anti-human to argue human population growth. Humans can be really beneficial to the Earth, but then again, we all have to get on the same page to want to recycle, to want to clean up lakes and oceans, and to be more consciously aware of all the waste that we leave behind, and how we sustain ourselves as humans. We would need to all come together and really change our eating habits and plant, you know, because even overeating is really taxing on Earth's agriculture system, because a lot of water goes into supplementing one cow and a lot of food, and then if one overeats, then that's just more agriculture that needs to be raised and farmed, whatnot. So there's many things that humans can do to help Earth's betterment in a plethora of ways. So since I mentioned what happens when people consume more food than they should, now imagine an abundance of human overpopulation and how taxing that would be on the agricultural community to try to meet the growing demands of supplying food to a growing community. It's really taxing. On overpopulation in a species actually creates a weakness as it decreases our abundance of food. So that's something to think about. The opposing argument is one that I really struggle with, just because it is really, human overpopulation is really a bad thing. So when I turn the argument around to human population growth and try to make it sound like a good thing so I can have an opposing argument, it becomes exceedingly difficult, because too much of a good thing, as they say, is a bad thing. I love people and I love humans, but I also want everyone to have good life and thrive and not have to hurt for food and water and to just simply live. I researched opportunities for leadership in my area that surround my topic of interest, human overpopulation, and I had a multitude of organizations in Colorado that one can join to help the environment in many ways and be a part of raising awareness and whatnot. So I thought that was pretty neat. I'll probably leave the link below to that. If you guys live in Colorado or just interested in seeing what I researched, I'll leave that link below. I just wanted to complete my video by saying that I wish you all the best in your final week of this honors course. And yeah, I wish you all the best in your finals, and it's been a pleasure taking this course with you all and learning so much. And thank you, Doctor, for all your crucial insight and input on all my discussions. I know that I needed them, because I struggle sometimes on my premises and conclusions. It's not easy. This class is really hard and really makes you critically think about a lot of things and helps you relook and evaluate all kinds of different arguments for their fallacies and validity. So anyways, I wish you guys all the best in your future courses. And yeah, so I have links in my personal bio to all of my pages and anything. If any of you are interested in just being friends or reaching out or, you know, continuing discussing topics personally, just whatever. Those links are there for anybody that would like them. Have a good one, y'all. Peace out. Peace.